Welcome back to another video, and in this video we're going to be continuing on with our macOS development with AppKit tutorial series, and in this particular tutorial I am going to show you how you can have a multi-column layout of view controllers inside of your window using NSSplitViewController. Now, what is an NSSplitViewController? Well, it's exactly what it sounds like. It splits your window into many different view controllers. Now, the size of each view controller inside of the split view controller can be resized to whatever size you like. It does a lot of stuff behind the scenes that just using NSSplitView doesn't. And if you were to use NSSplitView on its own, you'd have to implement a lot of that. So we're just going to take a look at NSSplitViewController because that's what you're going to be using most often. You're going to be most often using the view controller variant. So how exactly then do we use this? Well, the first thing we need to understand is where we're starting from, because I want to explain that a little bit and how this is going to work. So inside of our view controller class, you can see this inherits from NSViewController, overrides viewDidLoad, and calls the super for viewDidLoad. Pretty simple. But inside of this class, we have three objects. We have red VC, white VC, and blue VC. These are of type red view controller, white view controller, and blue view controller respectively. All these do is they pretty much set the background color of the view's layer property. Right, so we're calling once layer on the view of each of these view controllers, and then we're setting the background color property of that layer to, for example, red, white, and blue for their respective controllers. Pretty simple stuff, nothing too complicated so far. Now what we want to do is we want to embed these into what are called NSSplitView items. These will be given to our NSSplitView controller to then put inside of its split view to display to the user. There's nothing too super special that we need to do in terms of constraints or anything like that. The NSSplitView controller takes care of all of that for us. So where do we start with actually using NSSplitViewController? Well, the NSSplitViewController is more commonly the root view controller of our window. And right now our root view controller is the view controller class. So instead of inheriting from NSViewController, we are going to inherit from NSSplitViewController. So let's go into Xcode. And instead of NSViewController, we'll say NSSplitViewController, like that. And this gives us all the different properties and methods that we would need to work with our split view. So inside of viewDidLoad, what I want you to do is create 3 NSSplitView item objects. Each of these is going to take in a view controller. And this view controller, of course, has to be an NSViewController, which our red, white, and blue VC objects are. So let's go ahead. In viewDidLoad, we'll say let red item equals NSSplitViewItem. Give it a view controller of red VC, like that. Let white VC, or rather not VC, white item equals NSSplitViewItem with a view controller passed to it of white VC. And then finally, let blue item equals NSSplitViewItem with a view controller passed to it. And this is going to have blue VC. Relatively simple. Next, we need to determine how our window is going to be split. Do we want the split, the resize handle for our split view to be oriented horizontally, or do we want it to be vertical? So if the splitter is oriented vertically, then our views will be split from left to right. If the splitter is oriented horizontally, then our views will be stacked on top of each other, one after the other. And how do we achieve that? Well, we achieve this by setting the isVertical property on the split view of our view controller. So we can say split view dot isVertical. Now, by default, this property is set to false. So with that, or rather, actually, no. I'm sorry. It's set to true because this is telling the code, hey, we want the whether or not we want the split view controller's splitters to be horizontally oriented or vertically oriented. So if we say true, all right, we'll see what that does here in a second. So the next thing that we need to do is we need to actually add these NSSplitView items to our controller. And we can do this by saying add split view item, and we'll say red item add split view item white item, like that. Add split view item and we'll say blue item, like that. And that's all we need to do. So let's go ahead and run our code now. And you can see each view controller goes from left to right along the window, and there are two splitters to make those three columns. So on the furthest left, the view is the red view controller. Then the white view controller is in the middle, and then the blue view controller is on the right-hand side. Now, what if we set the isVertical property of our split view to false? So we can say false, run our code again. And now you can see our view controllers are stacked on top of each other. So the red view controller is the top, the white view controller is in the middle, and then the blue view controller is at the bottom. Now, most of the time, you're not going to be using more than 3 columns at a time, but you could add more if you wanted to. For whatever reason, you could. but I wouldn't recommend it. I would stick to a maximum of 3 if you absolutely needed it. Now, my challenge for you will be this. How do we, I want you to figure out how we can add buttons to each of these view controllers and then communicate between the different view controllers in the split view controller. So when you click one of the buttons, something else or something happens in one of the other columns. I want you to go around and Google that. I want you to look around on Stack Overflow, on Reddit, wherever you might be able to find an answer. I want you to go around and look for how you do that. Because it is fundamental, and I want you to figure out how to do that on your own, because you're going to be doing stuff like that every day, right? So in the next video, I will show you how to do it. But for now, I want you to figure it out on your own. Anyways, that pretty much does it for this video. Thank you all so very much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.